Hello, hello, hello. It's Holly Rustick here with Grant Writing and Funding. And we have a bonus episode for you today. We're going to be talking to Dr. Cheri Westmoreland, and she is the CEO of Spirit Excel, and she's also in the Grant Professional Mentorship. So she's going to be talking about her experience in the program. This is her 4th year. We were just talking in the green room before. We're like, oh my goodness. So good. And we're also going to be talking about her journey in grant writing and all the things. So welcome to the podcast, Dr. Cheri.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here, definitely.
Yeah, so exciting. And as I mentioned, this is your 4th year in the mentorship, so you are not new to grants. You actually have a lot of grant writing experience. Can you kind of talk to the audience a little bit about your experience in grant writing and what got you into it?
Well, I've been in higher education for about 40 years, and 30 of those years I have had grant management and grant writing experience with federal grants,
Mhm.
having those programs on the university campus. So I'm very familiar with mostly the writing and then really managing it and working with the federal government and still doing that while trying to build a business on my own when I retire. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm really looking at. And
Yeah, and
that's
I
been
noticed you like,
my
oh, sorry,
journey.
good.
That's been
Yeah.
my journey.
Yeah.
I can say that I didn't want to do grant writing. I will be honest as my business, and I was going back looking at when I really got serious about this, and it was in 2021. And I
Mhm.
was under the mentorship of somebody for writing books.
Nice.
And she started talking to me and she says, what you need to be doing is writing grants. And so from there, I found Holly and started the mentoring program in 2022. And I wasn't doing any outside grants except for when people asked me to
Mhm.
do a little grant. But all the grants that I was doing was in the university.
Mhm. Mhm.
So really broadening that, coming into the mentorship program. I mean, I made more money that first year with Holly, even though it wasn't a lot of money, but it was a lot for me. It really
Mhm.
was. It was a lot for me on my own. And
Mhm.
so it was really good. The small foundation grants, and I did strategic planning and
Mhm.
board development
Mhm.
that first year. And so
Yeah.
that's how I started doing the contract work.
Mhm. Yeah, and I noticed it was interesting because when you first started and we were talking about, you're like, I don't want to do federal grants. Like, I do that all day long. Like, I want to do something different. And that's when we were pivoting more into the foundation grants and like looking at board training and strategic planning, as you mentioned. And it's so interesting too, because you were like, I've never seen this side of nonprofits, like working in large higher ed. It's so different. So it was also like almost like a new business in a way, even though a lot of the skills apply, but very, very different. So yeah. And then now I know you've pivoted back to federal grants or to writing federal grants outside as well. And so how has that been for you to kind of see the whole spectrum in your business, and what are you leaning into in 2025?
Well, it's very helpful because everything is so unstable. And
Yeah.
even for the federal grants, mixing the strategic planning for everyone to kind of reframe everything. And thanks to you and how you've been guiding me, that it really does mix with everything that I've been doing. So
Mhm.
helping people to reframe what they're doing, changing the language,
Yeah.
because a lot of people were focusing in on the DEI, and now we've got to reframe that. Planning and board development really kind of goes along with that, and then they'll be positioned to look at different grants and write them differently.
Yeah. And I love what you really bring to the table too for so many nonprofits and organizations, especially looking at federal grants in these times, is you have that compliance side to you because you've done grant management, as you mentioned, for 30 years in higher ed. So you know compliance, you know things that beyond just trigger band words, right? Like what that really looks like overall. So is there anything that, you'd like to kind of bring up just to highlight for any organizations right now that they might want to be looking out for as far as compliance in this administration?
It's really interesting. I think that I have erred on the side of really being business minded. Because I
Mm,
think a lot of times people think your program officer is going to be this nice person, and they really aren't. I have to say that. And so
tell me like
I
it
ask
is.
the question, I really do. And people say, well, how
Yeah.
do you get along with them? Well, one program officer, I've had her for 20 years,
Mhm.
and she is just very flat. She knows me. If I'm in meetings, I see her. We kind of talk, but I'm not going to hold a long conversation with her. And a
Mhm.
lot of people feel like I ask her questions. And the interesting thing about her, she gives me the law. If I ask her a question about something, she's
Mhm.
going to look in Edgar and tell me exactly what the regulation is,
Mhm.
and that's her answer. So I just
Mhm.
think it's kind of sterile, and a
Yeah.
lot of where with foundations they talk to you
Oh
and they
yeah.
just really nice and kind of give ideas, and
Mhm.
that it has not been like that for me. And
Yeah.
so I just really stay strict to the regulations and
Mhm.
work with my organization or any organization. It's
Mhm.
really very task oriented and very results oriented
Yeah. Yeah.
for me in my
Yeah.
grants management. And I think people just, if you have somebody working with you and they have that experience, you need to trust them that they know what they're doing, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But you just can't handle them like you would handle foundations.
Yeah, and I like that you've seen both sides of this too, right? And even like both sides of the compliance and even her like just giving you the law. Like that's hard because sometimes you have a question and you're like, I know what the law is, but I also know that there's different interpretations of what this is. So I'm kind of asking you, what is your interpretation? So I know is, and it's not, right? It's just like, no, here it is. So it's like, okay. Yep. So that can be difficult at times
Right,
for sure. And I
right.
know also like you with having your business, and one of the things that when you came to me and we're looking at the program, we were talking about it, you came in the program and you've been building this since, as you mentioned, is your roadmap or the way the way to retirement. Even looking at this now with everything going on in the university, you kind of said to me the other day, you're like, you know what? If they need to move me off of this because of these changes and this, that, like, I've got something set up now. I've got something on the side. I'm good. Like, I can if I want. They also have another position for me. I can stay. I'm good. But at the end of the day, like, I feel good now to retire if I need to at this
Right.
point in time. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's a huge thing for a lot of people. They're not ready for that.
Well, when I thought back about it in 2022, I didn't have the confidence that I have now. And
Mm,
it's because of being in the mentorship,
mm,
listening to you, the books that you've had us read, the mind shift. It
mhm.
has really changed how I feel. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. And I wouldn't have said
No.
that. No, I would not have said that 3 years ago. But I think that I've learned a lot just even in the fellowship and hearing different people. So I'm not by myself in some of these kind of crazy things that I'm thinking. Other people are thinking the same things. The program did help me build my confidence
Mhm.
and being out there on my own. I've always
Mm,
had that security of a job, but I'm really ready. I'm doing it. I mean,
mhm. Yeah.
my first clients came from the directory and the podcast
Mhm,
that
mhm,
I did with you initially. So, the program
mhm,
really helped to lay a strong foundation for me.
mhm,
And before I was just operating like how I operate my house. When I started I had an account, but I didn't really have all the things. And the thing that really made the difference for me was the profit. the whole
Yeah.
profit
Yeah.
book that we read, and I
Mhm.
started making different accounts. And now, I look at it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got some things in place, and that's given me confidence to be able to walk away
Mhm.
if I had to.
I love that.
So,
And yeah, getting your business set up, right? Like you kind of came and were like, I don't know. And even like contacts, you're like, I'm so embedded in the university. It's kind of like, I don't have that word of mouth referral, like maybe a lot of other people so like you said, some of your first clients were cold clients. And what I mean by that, where they weren't just warm referrals, where some of the people under the program, that's all they have. And they're totally full with that, right? But some people like you, like we don't have those extended, like you needed, and you're getting cold people that don't know you from anywhere, but they're finding you on the grant writing directory. They're hearing you on the podcast. They're getting to know you in that way. And you're leveraging our marketing for that, which we totally say to do, right? Like leverage. We spend a lot of money and time doing marketing and working on SEO and bringing people to the site so they can find you as well, right? So I love that that's worked out so well for
yeah,
your
and that
business.
really has. And then that helps build your confidence too when you're out there and there's somebody credible, uh,
Mhm.
marketing you. And so it has been very, very good.
I
Very
love it. I love it. And part of that confidence, I know you talked a lot about mindset, the books we read, setting up profit, and just understanding your business and learning business acumen pretty much. But
good.
also you're making money. Like that's gotta help. Like, you're okay, financially safe, and that can breed a lot of confidence too, and just relief, right? You're like, I did it. Like if I need to retire right now, I've set up my retirement business. It's operating, it has clients, it has money, it has income. I've streamlined it as well. What I love about you as well, Dr. Cheri, is you had mentioned too, you said, I'm not looking to build up a lot of clients right now, and I'm not looking to scale. Like actually, while I have my full-time job, because you still have it, you're like, I actually want to stay in this program, build it up, keep my full time job now, because when I retire, I don't want to be working more. I want it operating on the hours that I'm putting into it now. And I was like, yes, like that's gold. Yeah. So can you kind of talk about that, like how you set it up, how you manage the clients that you have while working full time, and just even that switch? It's not like when you retire, you want to put then all your extra hours into this business.
As I kind of look at this, have at least 2 or 3 clients. None of them, they need the service. They're small clients,
Mm-hmm.
small businesses. And I do the grant writing for them. The other one, I've been primarily doing strategic planning
Mm-hmm.
or development because they're a real startup uh, client. And
Mm-hmm.
then the third one, um, it's kind of interesting. They have an agency, but they like for me to do their program evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
can be kind of long term with them, 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of evaluate their programs for them. So those tend to be the areas that I kind of function
Mm-hmm.
in. I
Mm-hmm.
would like to have that kind of combination, doing
Yeah.
the program evaluation, maybe
Mm-hmm.
doing 1 or 2 grants in the strategic planning.
Yeah.
That's a good fit for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm really working on now.
Mm-hmm.
So I am building the business in that I have one client that has been with me the whole time. And so
Nice.
I just do the foundation grants for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to move them into the strategic planning, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to keep on hanging in there with them because they really do need the strategic
Yeah.
plan. But,
Yeah, especially
I
now,
just
I know that was one of the
want,
services that we talked about the other day for your business too, is really leaning into the strategic planning, because even without everything going on in the administration, you've seen how helpful it is. You love doing it. And now with everything going on, and especially like reaching back out to your federal people that write federal grants or looking at
mm,
that, since you have that entirely, that's 30 years of federal grant writing, you notice that a lot of organizations you need that right now to kind of look at their funding streams. So you're definitely available for that. And I know it's such a good thing to kind of double down on right now, right? When you know how to do strategic planning. So I love that you're doing that. So yeah, so this is awesome. I love all the work that you're doing. And just for other people out there, like what are some, if they're looking at joining, like we're going to be having the doors open, or they're going to be open by the time we launch this podcast. You've been with us for 4 years. Like you've been through all of the different, you've seen the program grow, you've seen curriculum added, you've seen all the things. Like what are some of the biggest things that have helped you in your business? And then if someone is sitting there going, you know what, I might be in a similar situation to you. My job felt very secure for 30 years, but it no longer does because I've been focusing on federal grants. Should I even be a consultant? Is that even something that's going to be out there right now? Like, can you kind of add some points to that, like what's been helpful and then what people might be thinking about right now and how this program could help them?
If you are very similar to me, things come back around. I've wanted to be a consultant. So I started years ago, and then you get away from it, and then it's almost like full circle. But I have a better foundation to do it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that the materials, and you are so open to share the materials that you have. And that really helps because we have your materials, we have materials that we put it together ourselves, and there is nothing that we would need that we can't get from the mentorship. So that's what I think is really good. And then if you're looking at it, and I've had mentors before because let me just say this, I do feel like you have to invest in yourself. And that's the one thing that kind of stops people because they don't realize that they have to invest in themselves. And I learned that a while ago. Just like before I had you, I had this other person, and she was hard. And so but I appreciated her for telling me what she did, and that led me to where I am now. So I'm very grateful for that. But you need to invest in yourself. And I do think that the mentorship program is an investment. And as I keep going, it's just going to even be better. I think that now I've never saw myself as a marketer. And just sales is not my thing. And my mind is changing around selling myself and undervaluing what I bring to the table. So I'm working on that, and I know people value me, but sometimes I undervalue myself. So then they do the same. So I think mentoring and mentorship programs really help you with that because people in the mentorship program, we're all kind of saying the same thing. So we encourage each other and we hear the story. So I really like that. It has been very, very good for me.
Awesome. And since you've been with us for 4 years, like what are the biggest changes that you've seen specifically in the last year? And
when I first started, it was the grant writing, the technique of grant writing, and how to do it in the most efficient and effective way. And then you really shift to you have a business. You're no longer a grant writer or a freelance grant writer. You're a business owner. And so that changes everything. And um, really kind of preparing us to um, have staff, which I'm not there. I'm happy to just do a little subcontract at this point. But there would have been a time when I wouldn't have even thought about that.
right. Yeah, that's
Just
been helpful
really
too for you. Yeah.
taking some small steps and building an agency or building a company, a business with people, and you outline everything for us. So that's good. So that's the biggest change
Yeah.
that I've seen, and it's a little intimidating and can be a struggle, but I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate it. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'll
it is.
get the business
Mhm.
part, having people work for me, but
Well,
I
even
like
subcontractors, like, that's
knowing
fine.
I like
Yeah,
knowing that information and
yeah,
that if I needed to do it,
yeah,
I know that I
yeah.
have information and I can do it.
Yeah. And I know because what we actually did is that used to be the academy and we split it. And then this one went like more business centric to scaling and building your business. And the academy is more about writing grants and starting your business. And I remember we had the conversation like, which way do you want to go? Do you want to stay in the mentorship or go into the academy? Like, what do you feel? And you're like, I already know how to write grants, Holly. But this is interesting to me to know how to hire a subcontractor, how to hire somebody to potentially help me because I don't want to, as I retire, I still want to bring on clients, but it doesn't need to be me doing all of it. And I was like, that's so good. So yeah, so it's been so good to see like that mindset of like, I want to be a business owner and I don't want to work more as I retire, but I want my business to be running. And I was like, cool, then that's the perfect place for you. So it's been really neat to see you still building your business and having a subcontractor and being able to get support in your business instead of being like, I can do it all. I'm just going to do it all, which you could, but do you want to? No. So, yeah,
No, I don't.
yeah, no, yeah. That's awesome. So, so good. I'm so glad that you're in the program and I love watching your business grow. I love all the things that you're doing to keep your business growing while you're like building your confidence and even being in this position and having this financial security and just a business security in yourself. Because who knew all this was going to happen, right? In the position that you might be in and this uncertainty to be like, no, it's okay. If it all happens and if I need to quit my job, like I'm good, like I've got this going on. Or if they want to change me to another position and I don't really want that, I could say I'm good, right? So I just love that you've set yourself up and I'm so proud of you for investing in yourself. And now the position that you're in is just so good, right? So, so good financially and confidence wise. So well done. Well done, Dr. Cheri. I love it. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it
well,
so much.
thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you taking the time and really developing the
Mhm.
program
Yeah.
because it has been good for me. It really
Mhm.
has. It's been
So
good.
important. And yeah, and then also, I mean, we're just celebrating too. You're like, I just sent out my first email because that was a coaching I gave you last time we were together was start sending out emails. And you're like, someone responded and I got a sale off of one email. I'm telling y'all, we teach marketing, we teach lead gen, we teach sales because just like you were saying, Dr. Cheri, like it's not a place many people feel comfortable is in marketing and sales, like especially women. Like we have, we're going to feel sleazy or we're going to feel too aggressive or bitchy or whatever. And you can do it though where it's neutral, right? You can do it where it's just neutral and it's a part of like, yes, you need to be doing sales and marketing as a
Right.
business owner, like
Yeah.
just is what it is.
Right.
So
It is.
congratulations on that. I can't wait to see how that plays out. When you start, sending out more emails, because we have like a whole strategy for you. And it was just like the first
Right.
email to your list, completely cold. Once again, like you do so well with a cold audience, and it is amazing. It's amazing. And that's how much people, they respect your experience and they respect what you're doing, right? And they need you. They need you. Even today, people are like, oh, are grant writers going to be on? Yeah. Nonprofits still need us. They still need the work that we're giving.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, so good. So where can people find you if they want to hear more about your story or connect with you for writing grants? Where are you at?
Well, I have a site. It's spiritexcel.org, and you can get in touch with me there. And then also, I have just an email address. Definitely, you can email me at sherryspiritexcel@gmail.com. And Sherry spells Cheri,
Yep.
spiritexcel@gmail.com.
Awesome. Great.
Yes.
And we'll have all those links in the show notes too. But if y'all are tuning in and listening, you can go ahead and go there right away. So, so good. So thank you again for being in the mentorship. It's such an honor to coach you and to be a part of your journey. And thank you for coming on the Grant Writing and Funding podcast today. And we have a coaching call in about 25 minutes. In there. We're going to do some lead gen training. Awesome. So,
Well,
so
thank
good. Thank
you.
you again. Yes. You're
Yeah, thank you
welcome.
so much. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you. All
Yes,
right.
I appreciate you too. All right, I'll see you soon. Thanks, Sherry.
All right.
Okay. So, so good. Thank you.
That was very comfortable. So